as a monkey in this graphic, a graphic I only saw on his page. So now his millions of followers can see this, and it should be easy to defend her against such deplorable hate and racism and bigotry and evil. But he couldn't do that. He had to make himself both the victim and the hero of this story. He had to mention that Angel Reese did something to him instead of acknowledging what he initially did to her. He had to be the champion again for Caitlin Clark, I guess against the young, angry black woman.
Breaking developments continue to unfold in the Caitlin Clark civil rights investigation that has captured nationwide attention. This ongoing situation requires examination of the timeline and key events that have brought this matter to the forefront of sports media coverage. The controversy traces back to a detailed examination of events surrounding Clark's rookie season. A comprehensive timeline reveals how this civil rights matter has evolved from initial concerns to a full-scale investigation drawing scrutiny from major news outlets.
Champion again for Caitlin Clark, I guess against the young, angry black woman by lying on her and her inner circle. So now Angel Reese, who should be in a celebration and trying to ignore the noise of all the evil and attacks that she feels every single day, has to come out along with her mother to shut down these lies and accusations from RG3.
That accusation from Bob Griffin was the following. Via Sports Illustrated, in his tweet, he claimed he was in contact with some people in Angel Reese's inner circle.
The Wall Street Journal initiated widespread coverage with their August 3rd publication by Sean Millen, which immediately went viral and created ripple effects across the country. This piece served as the catalyst that brought public awareness to what would become a significant legal matter. The article specifically addressed WNBA practices and Caitlin Clark's treatment, marking the beginning of intense media focus on this issue. Stephen A. Smith subsequently weighed in during his broadcast, offering sharp criticism of the league's approach in response to escalating concerns. His commentary amplified the conversation significantly, reaching broader audiences across sports media and social platforms. Smith's analysis particularly highlighted what many perceive as inadequate leadership response from league officials.
Via Sports Illustrated, in his tweet, he claimed he was in contact with some people in Angel Reese's inner circle who told him the Chicago Sky forward has grown to hate Caitlin Clark. Reese played it classy and would tweet lying on this app when everybody knows the first and last name of everybody in my circle for clout is nasty work. That message from Reese's mother that Clark alluded to would read as follows. Man, stop with the my daughter's circle is so small and tight. So I'd be interested to know who called you. Whomever you say called you is not in her circle to speak on.
The situation reached another critical juncture when Fox News dedicated coverage to the matter, directly challenging Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's handling of the controversy. This mainstream news attention represents what many consider a turning point, bringing the story beyond sports media into general news coverage. Commentary has focused heavily on the commissioner's notably quiet response to mounting criticism. Observers question why league leadership has remained largely silent while controversy continues to build. Many draw parallels to how NBA Commissioner Adam Silver might respond to similar circumstances involving a high-profile player like LeBron James, suggesting more decisive action would be expected.
Called you, whomever you say called you, is not in her circle to speak on her feelings towards a media/fandom made-up beef. Just stay on that side because the doors are closed over here. To be very clear, on the racist image RG3 decided to share to his millions of followers, like this user, I only came across it because of Bob Griffin. He is solely responsible for amplifying it and sharing it. It had no legs whatsoever. It was from a troll account on Elon's hate platform. The only reason we know about this is
analysis points to potential institutional factors that may complicate the commissioner's position. Some theories suggest extensive influence from University of Connecticut basketball connections throughout the WNBA's organizational structure. This network, sometimes referred to as having significant sway within the league, allegedly extends throughout various levels of WNBA operations. Coach Gino Auriemma and the UConn program's extensive reach within women's basketball creates complex dynamics. The theory suggests frustration within these circles over Clark's rapid ascension to stardom, particularly since it overshadowed other talented players from their program, including highly regarded prospects like Paige Bueckers. While Bueckers remains an exceptional talent, her profile hasn't reached Clark's mainstream breakthrough levels. This dynamic allegedly creates tension because UConn's program has historically dominated women's college basketball and expected their players to receive the spotlight within professional leagues. Clark's unexpected rise to national prominence disrupted these expectations, potentially generating institutional resentment. The commissioner's board structure includes various trustees and governing members who possess voting power over leadership decisions. Analysis suggests this board composition may include individuals with strong UConn connections, potentially complicating any decisive action regarding the Clark situation. Historical precedents from other sports provide context for how leagues typically handle transformative players. Soccer's growth in America during the 1970s offers one example. When Pelé joined the New York Cosmos, he drew 77,000 fans to Giant Stadium despite initial skepticism about soccer's American appeal. Crucially, opponents and teammates welcomed Pelé's presence, recognizing how his star power elevated everyone's salaries and opportunities. Similarly, David Beckham's arrival in Major League Soccer generated unprecedented attention, with his press conference drawing larger crowds than most actual games. The 32-year-old superstar brought immediate credibility and mainstream attention to MLS. Rather than resentment, other players and teams appreciated how Beckham's presence raised the entire league's profile. Clark's impact mirrors these transformative figures. She has driven viewership to 20-year peaks, with ratings jumping 200% in some cases. Game attendance has increased 14% year over year, breaking previous attendance records. Most significantly, WNBA merchandise sales have surged 400%, directly attributable to Clark's popularity and fan engagement. Despite these overwhelmingly positive metrics, reports suggest approximately 80% of fellow players harbor negative feelings toward Clark. This represents a stark contrast to how other sports have embraced game-changing athletes who elevated their entire leagues. The animosity appears connected to long-standing rivalries dating back to college basketball, particularly the Iowa-LSU championship game dynamics involving Clark and Angel Reese. However, the hostile environment extends beyond individual rivalries to encompass what observers describe as systematic unfriendly behavior from multiple players. Questions arise whether this antagonistic atmosphere existed previously within the WNBA, but remained hidden due to limited media coverage, or whether Clark's arrival specifically generated these tensions. Historical analysis suggests that early WNBA stars like Cheryl Swoops, Rebecca Lobo, and Lisa Leslie didn't face comparable resentment, possibly because they emerged collectively from the successful 1996 Olympic team that provided the league's founding momentum. The original WNBA launch benefited from Olympic gold medal success and established stars who transitioned together into the professional league. Despite selling out 18,000-seat arenas during the Olympic run and generating significant initial interest in women's sports, the league struggled to maintain that momentum long-term. Clark represents something different, an individual breakthrough star who single-handedly revived mainstream interest in women's professional basketball. This Iowa native who joined the Indiana Fever has created one of the most remarkable storylines in recent sports history, yet faces unprecedented internal resistance. The league's financial structure adds complexity to this situation. The WNBA has operated with NBA subsidies since its 1997 inception, never achieving independent financial sustainability. Having finally found a player capable of generating significant revenue and mainstream attention, the apparent internal hostility seems counterproductive to long-term league success. Recent developments include disruptive incidents during games, including inappropriate objects being thrown onto courts by spectators seeking attention for cryptocurrency promotions. These disruptions have further complicated an already tense environment surrounding Clark's game. Media coverage continues expanding beyond sports outlets into mainstream news channels. The Fox News segment analyzing this civil rights matter accumulated over 80,000 views within 14 hours, demonstrating significant public interest in this developing story. Political implications may emerge as coverage intensifies and reaches broader audiences. Some speculation suggests that if major political figures become involved in commenting on this civil rights Clark continues facing challenges as she navigates her rookie season amid this controversy. The combination of legal scrutiny, media attention, and apparent player hostility creates an unusually difficult environment for any professional athlete, particularly someone just beginning their career. The broader implications for the WNBA remain significant as this investigation continues. How league leadership responds to mounting pressure may determine not only Clark's future experience, but also the organization's ability to capitalize on the unprecedented growth she has generated for women's professional basketball. Basketball enthusiasts witnessed something extraordinary when describing Caitlin Clark. Words like incredible, dominant, and authentic capture her essence. Her intensity defines every possession. Clark has transformed from someone who absorbed criticism quietly during her initial campaign to a player who now stands firm and speaks her truth. The evolution represents complete confidence in her position and ability. Most newcomers enter professional basketball cautiously, seeking gradual acceptance while adapting to increased competition. Clark bypassed this traditional pathway entirely. Her arrival commanded immediate recognition through spectacular long-range shooting and brilliant court vision that seemed impossible to others. Rather than waiting for opportunities, she created them instantly. NBA icon Larry Bird rarely offers public commentary, making his recent observations about Clark particularly significant. Bird recognizes something historic unfolding and expresses his thoughts without reservation. When basketball royalty speaks, the message resonates throughout the entire sport. Clark hasn't merely joined women's basketball, she has fundamentally altered its trajectory. Her influence extends far beyond individual performances, drawing attention from Hall of Fame coaches, former champions, and current superstars. Clark doesn't simply generate discussion, she controls conversations, compelling even experienced basketball minds to acknowledge her unprecedented impact. This represents more than momentary success. It signals a complete cultural transformation. Clark operates as a disruptive force rather than following established patterns. She changes arena atmospheres and redefines. Comparisons to Magic Johnson represent the highest form of basketball praise. Magic understands what transcending star status means, having revolutionized how the NBA appeared, played, and generated discussion. When he observes Clark and draws parallels to his own impact, the recognition carries legacy-level significance. Magic explicitly connects Clark's current influence to the transformation he and Bird created during the 1980s. This isn't casual compliment, but serious historical comparison. Magic recognizes how Clark commands attention naturally, carrying spotlight pressure as comfortably as wearing her uniform. She elevates not just her team, but women's basketball's entire ecosystem. New audiences, increased viewership, enhanced revenue streams, and sustained momentum all flow from Clark's presence. When someone of Magic's stature draws direct lines between current events and basketball's golden era transformation, the statement represents historical recognition rather than simple validation. Legendary coach Mike Krzyzewski's perspective carries unique authority. Coach K built his reputation through 5 national championships, 3 Olympic gold medals, and developing countless NBA talents including LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, and Stephen Curry. His assessment of Clark reflects decades of working with elite basketball minds. Krzyzewski identifies Clark's passing ability as her most impressive skill, calling her a magical distributor with exceptional game understanding. His emphasis on vision, timing, and anticipation highlights qualities that don't appear in box scores but determine victories. Clark doesn't simply make correct decisions, she anticipates developments before they occur. The coach's approval extends beyond individual skills to leadership recognition. When someone who has guided basketball's greatest talents says he would replicate Clark's developmental approach, the endorsement confirms her exceptional basketball intellect and natural leadership ability. Luka Doncic represents contemporary basketball excellence through his combination of skill, vision, and competitive drive. As an MVP candidate and All-NBA performer, Doncic rarely engages in extensive commentary. His directness makes his simple declaration about favorite women's basketball players particularly meaningful. When asked directly about his preference, Doncic immediately named Clark without hesitation or elaboration. This straightforward response carries more weight than detailed analysis because it reflects genuine admiration from someone who understands elite performance requirements. Doncic recognizes authentic greatness through his own experience, dominating from his professional debut. Media personality Colin Cowherd specializes in connecting sports achievement to broader cultural impact. His analysis extends beyond individual success to examine how certain athletes transform public perception of their entire sport. When Cowherd mentions Tiger Woods, LeBron James, and Taylor Swift, he describes cultural phenomena rather than mere entertainment figures. Including Clark in this exclusive category represents recognition of her transformative influence. Cowherd distinguishes between skilled players and genuine phenomena, emphasizing how rare true game changers appear in sports. Clark doesn't wait for basketball to evolve. She forces immediate change through her presence and performance. Former NBA champion Mychal Thompson addresses the unique scrutiny Clark faces as women's basketball's most visible figure. Thompson suggests that officials sometimes overcompensate in their treatment to Clark, applying stricter standards to avoid appearing biased in her favor. This reverse discrimination creates additional pressure beyond normal competitive challenges. Despite facing amplified examination of every action, Clark maintains her aggressive style and confident approach. Thompson's observations highlight how cultural transformation often creates uncertainty about appropriate responses, but Clark continues performing regardless of external complications. Jeff Teague provides unfiltered perspective on the tensions surrounding Clark's rise to prominence. His direct questioning about rivalry narratives cuts through media manipulation to address fundamental fairness issues. Teague challenges the assumption that Clark's success necessarily diminishes other players' achievement. Teague's commentary addresses why excellence sometimes generates resentment rather than recognition. Clark earns attention through spectacular performances and packed arenas, yet this success often faces criticism rather than celebration. His analysis exposes double standards that complicate what should be straightforward appreciation for exceptional basketball. Gilbert Arenas understands the psychology of confidence-based performance, having played with similar swagger during his NBA career. Arenas recognizes how Clark's demonstrative celebrations and competitive gestures unsettle opponents while backing up every bold gesture with consistent production. Arenas doesn't criticize Clark's approach, but highlights its effectiveness. When players combine supreme confidence with matching ability, they create psychological advantages that extend beyond statistical contributions. Clark's willingness to show emotion and celebrate success represents strategic weaponization of personality traits. WNBA legend Cynthia Cooper's enthusiasm for potential All-Star Showcase matchups demonstrates Clark's entertainment value transcending regular season competition. Cooper specifically requested seeing Clark compete against other elite shooters in skills competitions, recognizing the mainstream appeal such events would generate. Cooper's excitement reflects how Clark has become appointment television, someone fans specifically want to see perform in high-pressure situations. This represents box office appeal that elevates both individual players and league-wide interest in premier events. Larry Bird's support for Clark's increasingly assertive approach reflects his own competitive philosophy. Bird built his legacy on toughness and refusing to yield ground to opponents or critics. Seeing Clark adopt similar stances resonates with Bird's understanding of what greatness requires in hostile environments. Bird's message emphasizes fighting back through performance rather than work. He appreciates Clark's willingness to answer criticism with improved play and confident responses. When someone of Bird's stature endorses aggressive competitive approaches, it validates Clark's strategic decision to embrace rather than avoid controversy. LeBron James's public recognition carries particular significance given his own experience managing enormous expectations from a young age. His simple acknowledgement of Clark's triple-double performance represents peer-to-peer respect from basketball's most scrutinized superstars. LeBron understands the pressure of carrying league-wide attention and having every performance analyzed extensively. His direct